PA Able and Other Treasury Saving Programs for Those with Disabilities webinar on August 17th, 2022. Sorry, there's an error there. Guest presenter, Diana Fishlock, Outreach Specialist, Bureau of Consumer Programs. This is our disclaimer. The ARC of Lehigh Northampton County's Advocacy Department does not employ lawyers nor provide legal advice. This training or any others provided by the ARC's Advocacy Department does not constitute or imply, endorse, recommend, or favor of the providing parties or any other employees or contractors acting on its behalf. This webinar is providing for educational and informative purposes only. And with that, I would like to introduce Diana Fishlock, Outreach Specialist from the Treasury Bureau of Consumer Programs. The Zoom is yours.
I'm Diana Fishlock, and I'm an outreach specialist for the State Treasury Department's Bureau of Consumer Programs. I am a mom of 2 teens with disabilities, and I have Able for them as well, so Able accounts. So I'm a user too, and that might help me to answer any questions that families might have. As Cody said, in today's overview, we will talk about what Able is, how to open and manage an account, and some additional details and considerations, which basically come down to a few extra rules for people receiving supplemental security income. I'm also going to briefly discuss 2 of our other programs at the end. An Able account is a savings and investment product for people with disabilities to use for qualified disability services. One of the most significant features of Able accounts is that funds in the accounts are not counted when determining eligibility for any federal means tested benefits, with some limitation for SSI. Also, the savings get great federal and state tax advantages. Through Able for the first time, many individuals with disabilities can save for a more secure future and have the ability to control their own funds. Able gives a number of investment options to the person managing the account, and funds in an Able account can be used for a wide variety of expenses. Able stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience. Able was signed into federal law in 2014, and that enabled states to create their own Able programs if they wish. Pennsylvania's Able program has been one of the fastest growing in the country, with a proven track record. More than 6,600 account owners have saved more than $75 million in assets in PA Able. We're very proud of that. As I mentioned, with an Able account, you can save while maintaining government benefits. The federal law says that assets in an Able account and qualified withdrawals from the account are not counted against any federal means tested benefits, with some limitation for SSI. Also, PA Able assets are not counted against Pennsylvania needs-based benefits having to do with health, disability, and student financial aid. This is extremely important because without Able, it was very limited how much individuals with disabilities could save and still receive government benefits. For example, traditionally SSI recipients could save only $2,000 in assets without reducing their SSI. Now, in addition to that $2,000, they can save up to $100,000 in an Able account, which can make a huge difference, giving a person the ability to save for a house or a car or just everyday expenses. If they go above that $100,000 threshold, SSI benefits will be suspended but not terminated, and medical assistance will continue through that time. Able account owners who don't receive SSI can save more than $500,000 in their Able account. An individual can have only one Able account nationwide. And while you may see information from other states, Pennsylvania's Able program has several PA-specific benefits. These are only available to Pennsylvanians if they use the PA Able program. Please note that some states' ABLE programs use confusing advertisements and marketing initiatives that may mislead you to think that they represent Pennsylvania. If you open one of these non-Pennsylvania ABLE accounts, you may be missing out on critical PA disability protection, benefit protection, and tax benefits. You can tell you're in the right place by looking for the PA ABLE logo, which you see here, and visiting paable.gov rather than another website. So let's talk a little bit about the tax benefits. Contributions to a Pennsylvania ABLE account are eligible for both state and federal tax benefits. Contributions to a PA ABLE account may be deducted from state taxable income up to $16,000 per person per year. That benefit only comes to PA residents if they use the PA ABLE. So if I put, say I put 10,000 in your ABLE account, I'm a Pennsylvania taxpayer, so I could deduct that from my state taxable income. Also, account owners who are 18 or older may also be eligible for a federal tax credit up to $2,000 for contributions to their own ABLE account. There's also no state or federal income tax on PA ABLE account earnings while the funds are in the account or when they're withdrawn, as long as they're used for qualified disability expenses. And I'll talk about what those are a little later. I'll touch more on these later in the presentation, but I just want to mention now, ABLE accounts with a balance over $100,000 can impact SSI benefits. Also, ABLE account assets are not subject to medical assistant repayment to the State Department of Human Services as long as the account owner is living. After the person passes away, the state can make a claim under certain limited circumstances. Also, contributions made as a gift should be made directly into the ABLE account. So under normal SSI rules, gifts can impact SSI eligibility. For example, if it was your birthday and I gave you $50 for buy yourself a birthday gift, if I put that in your regular bank account, that could reduce your SSI benefits. But with ABLE, anyone at all can contribute. And as long as they put the money directly into the ABLE account, it won't affect benefits. So if it was your birthday, rather than handing you a check or $50 in cash and asking you to put it in your ABLE account, I would put it directly into your ABLE account and then it wouldn't affect your benefits. Well, let's look at eligibility. There are two aspects that go into eligibility. The first is the age of onset of the disability, and the second is the disability itself. So the onset of a qualifying disability must happen before the individual's 26th birthday. So let's say my disability was Down syndrome. Clearly that's something I was born with. But let's say I was in a bad car accident. It's important whether that car accident happened when I was 20 or whether it happened when I was 30. It doesn't matter what age I am now, and it doesn't matter what age I received the correct diagnosis. So if I was 104 years old today and I received my correct diagnosis at age 80, that would be fine as long as I could show I had the disability by age 26. The other factor is the disability itself. So if I qualified for either SSI or SSDI, I would automatically qualify for ABLE. But there's another option for people who don't have enough work history for SSDI and who don't qualify for SSI, and that's called self-certification. With self-certification, in addition to the onset being by age 26, the person with a disability must have a written disability-related diagnosis from a physician who meets Social Security Administration criteria, saying that the person has a physical or mental impairment that results in marked and severe functional limitation and is expected to last for at least 12 months. Most people find the easiest way to open an account is online. You can go to paable.gov and click on enroll. Completing the enrollment process takes about 15 minutes, and it's a lot like applying for a credit card or a bank account online. In Pennsylvania, we also give people the option to fill out a paper application if they feel more comfortable doing that. You can print that out from our website, or you can call our ABLE helpline and request a paper application, and we'll mail that to your house. There are some unique features on account control. If the person with the disability is 18 or older and has the legal capacity to enter into a contract, the federal law requires them to open the account for themselves. If the person with the disability is younger than 18 or lacks the legal capacity to contract, someone else can open the account for them, even though the person with the disability remains the account owner. So that person who can open the account, the authorized individual, would need to be a parent, a guardian, person with a power of attorney, or in Pennsylvania, we also allow representative payees to open accounts on behalf of another person. The person who opens the account must administer the account for the benefit of the account owner. So if I open an account for my son, it's with the understanding that it's his money and it's to benefit him. So I'm not going to use it to spoil myself with a day at the spa or something like that, because it's his money and it needs to benefit him. After the account is open, the account owner can add someone to help them manage the account if they want to. It's completely optional. There are 4 different levels of control, so they have some options on how much control they give that other person. From level 1, which gives them basic information about the account, all the way up to level 4, which gives the other person full control over the account along with the account owner. Let's talk about how to contribute to ABLE. There are lots of ways to make contributions. You can send in a paper check, you can use a money order or an electronic fund transfer. There's lots of flexibility. An account owner can put money in now and then, or have money put in regularly from their payroll or from an existing bank account. If people receive SSI or SSDI monthly benefits, they can direct those into their PA ABLE account as a direct deposit. The only people who can't do that are people with a representative payee. We do ask that each contribution be at least $25, and the federal law limits the amount that can be contributed annually to $16,000. And that's true no matter how many people are contributing. So let's say I was the only person putting money into my account. I personally could put in $16,000 this year. But if all of us on the webinar this afternoon were putting money in, we as a group or we as a whole could put in $16,000, not each of us individually. Let me see here. Family and friends can also contribute using UGift, which is a free online service, a little bit like PayPal. And you can give people your UGift code, and that way they can contribute without you having to share the account number. So that's a nice little protection there. Families can also roll over a 529 college and career savings account into their ABLE account if they wish. That would count toward that $16,000 limit. So if I had a college savings account that had $30,000 in it, for example, I would need to roll that over 2 different years. The Able to Work Act adds some wonderful flexibility for some account owners who are working, and it allows them to put in more than that $16,000 limit. If they have not contributed during this tax year to a defined contribution plan like a 401k, an annuity contract, or a deferred compensation plan, then they can contribute above that $16,000 limit. And the amount extra they can put in is whichever of these is less, either the amount that they earn this year or the federal poverty level for the prior year, which right now would be $12,880. So the most that a person could contribute this year, if they met those criteria, would be $28,880. PA Able has 7 investment options. So when someone opens an account, they have some choices about how they want to invest their money. There's also a checking account option, which I'll talk about on the next slide. So you can direct your contributions to any one of these or any combination up to all 7 if you want. Also, you can set it up so every time you contribute, it goes the same way if you want, or you can switch it up every time. It's up to you. On this slide, we can see the 6 asset allocation investment options. They're all a mix of stocks and bonds and cash. They range from conservative to aggressive, and they are through firms you've probably heard of, like Vanguard, Sallie Mae, and BlackRock. Also notice from the chart that each option has an asset-based fee of less than 1%. They're nice and low. Those are ranging from 0.3 to 0.34% annually. PA Able checking is offered through Fifth Third Bank NA, but account owners enroll in the Able checking via our website or paper application, just like they would with any of our other investment options. The checking account is FDIC insured up to the $250,000 limit, and it comes with a free debit card. Using your card at ATMs is free if you're in network, or $2.75 if you're out of network. The daily ATM limit is $800, and if you're using the card at a store, the daily limit is $5,000, but you can have those lowered if you want by calling Fifth Third Bank. You also can order checks if you want. There's a fee of $6 for 25 checks. There is a $2 per month fee associated with the checking account, but that fee is completely waived if you choose to have your statement sent electronically, or if you have an average monthly balance of $250 or more in the checking account. This slide shows the fees, just so we're being transparent. There is an account maintenance fee that applies regardless of which investments you choose. The fee is $5 per month if you receive information by mail, and it bumps down to $3.75 per month if you choose to receive materials electronically. And I already mentioned the asset-based fees and the checking account fee. Once you put money into your Able account, you'll want to be able to take it out. Even if you don't have the checking account option, you can make a withdrawal from any of the investment options by going online and logging into your account, by phone, by calling our dedicated Able helpline, or in writing by filling out a form. If you have a checking account, you have some added flexibility. You can withdraw from the checking account by using your debit card at a store, by making an ATM cash withdrawal, or by writing a check if you purchase checks. Let's take a look at what your account can be used for. The quick answer is anything. It's your money and you can use it for whatever you want. But if you want to enjoy the full benefits and protections of the Able law, you should use it for qualified disability expenses. Federal law lists the 11 categories shown on this slide. Things like education, transportation, prevention, and wellness. The proposed IRS regulations also list basic living expenses. As a mom, I really appreciate that. I have 2 teenagers, and it seems like most of my paychecks go to groceries. So it's great that, that the IRS specified that it's fine to use it for everyday expenses. They also note that they are not limited to expenses that are medically necessary, nor do they have to be for the sole benefit of the person with a disability. So if I bought one of my children a computer, but the other child used it too, that would be fine. That could still be considered a qualified expense. The bottom line is that qualified disability expenses are very broad, and the account owner gets to decide what's qualified. So you don't have to call up the Treasury Department or the IRS and check, hey, I bought sneakers, does that count as an everyday expense? You can make that choice yourself. We do encourage you to save your receipts in case you're ever audited by the IRS. Since it's so broad, you might wonder, why does it matter if something's qualified or not qualified? The first reason is tax consequences. Remember how we talked about if you earned money in your ABLE account, it wasn't subject to federal or state taxes. If you take if you take funds out and you specify that they're for a non-qualified expense, any earnings portion of that withdrawal will be taxed at your regular federal tax rate plus a 10% penalty. And you would have Pennsylvania taxes on the earnings as well. The second consequence is for federal means tested benefits. Withdrawals used for non-qualified expenses will be counted in determining eligibility for those federal mean tested benefits. This is particularly important for SSI recipients. If they make a non-qualified withdrawal and they don't use the funds in the same calendar month, it can affect their benefits. I know this is a lot of information to take in at once. I'm going to talk now about a few of the rules that apply only to people receiving SSI. So an ABLE account value over $100,000 would be counted as an asset. In that case, SSI benefits would be suspended but not terminated. So the person would not have to reapply. It would not affect their medical assistance eligibility, so they would still be able to see the doctor and get prescriptions during that time. Also, SSI recipients are required to tell the Social Security Administration about anything that would impact their benefits. And the state ABLE agency, which is in our case is the Treasury Department, we're also required to report to Social Security monthly about every ABLE account. So if I was receiving SSI and I had an ABLE account, I wouldn't think, oh, it's less than $100,000. I'll just write down any number, because Social Security does have this system of checks and balances. An important detail on housing as it pertains to SSI recipients: housing is a qualified disability expense, but for people in SSI, they need to pay close attention to timing. If they use the money in the same calendar month to pay rent, that won't affect their SSI benefits. But if they take the money out in one calendar month and carry it over to the next calendar month, that could affect their benefits. And for SSI purposes, housing expenses are broader than just rent or mortgage. They also include things like heating, fuel, sewer fees, and even garbage removal. So you will want to keep that in mind if you receive SSI or if you're helping someone who receives SSI. This slide talks about what happens when an account owner passes away. After an account owner dies, all outstanding disability expenses can be paid by the family from the ABLE account. That includes medical and burial expenses, legal fees, and all those, big end of the life kinds of things that fall under the ABLE umbrella. Pennsylvania does not make a claim against a person's ABLE account while the person is alive, but after the person dies, the State Department of Human Services can make a claim just like they would if the person didn't have an ABLE account. No one is penalized for having ABLE. The rules are the same either way. Pennsylvania is more generous than many states because Pennsylvania limits claims to funds spent only after the person turned 55. So using my son Ben as an example, Ben has been receiving benefits since kindergarten, but if he passed away before age 55, the state wouldn't make a claim against his estate, even though he was receiving benefits all those years. But if he lived to be older than age 55, the state could make a claim, but just for funds spent after his 55th birthday, and strictly for funds spent on nursing facility services, home and community-based services, and hospital and prescription drug services. The whole process would be postponed if Ben was survived by a spouse, a child under 21, or a child with a disability. Now I'm going to talk you through what it looks like when you apply online. So you'd go to paable.gov. I do encourage people to read the plan disclosure statement, and that has lots of good information about the objectives, risks, charges, and restrictions. So that good to read. So you're informed on everything. So if you were opening an account online, let's say for argument's sake, we're opening it for a child, and that'll, so first we're going to put in the account owners. So that's the child. We're going to put in the account owner's name. And then if I'm opening an account, say for my son or daughter, I'm going to put my email and my phone number because I'm the person managing the account. Now it's asking who's filling out this information today. Is it the person with a disability? Is it their mom? Is it someone who has power of attorney, or someone else who for some other reason should be allowed to maintain an account on behalf of another person? Depending on how I answer this, I might receive an email afterward asking me to provide documentation. We're also going to put in the account owner's name and address. We're going to put in what the person's disability is. Don't worry, there's no wrong answer on this question. The federal government just wants to see who is needing AWOL accounts. Is it mostly people with, say, respiratory disorders, or mostly people with psychiatric disorders? Then it's asking whether the person with a disability receives SSI, or if they are eligible to receive SSDI, or if they're self-certifying. We're going to put in, sorry, that screen's behind me. We're going to put in state ID. We're going to choose how we want to invest. We want to put maybe 20% in 5 of these, or 100% in 1. We can break it up and do it differently every time if we want. We can also click on these and find out more about each one. It's asking us, how do we want to contribute? Do we want to mail in a check? Do we want to link this to our paycheck, or link it to an existing bank account? So there's lots of flexibility. Some people like to link a bank account, and then it's very easy to move money back and forth. Some people like to keep things separate, and that's fine too, whatever you're comfortable with. This asks whether you want to receive information through the mail or electronically. And these radio buttons automate to the best settings for the lowest fees. You're going to create a username and password. You'll choose an image, and you'll choose security questions. Again, it's a lot like applying for a bank account or a credit card. Those are our highlights for today. The ARC staff asked me if I would also speak briefly about our other savings programs, so I'm happy to do that. I do want to apologize because my slides aren't as pretty as I would like for these. So we also have the PA 529 College and Career Savings Program, and that's a tax advantaged way to save and pay for future educational expenses. The PA 529 plans can be used for many educational expenses at most colleges and universities, plus many trade, career, and technical schools, and many schools abroad. PA 529 plans also can be used for some other expenses like K through 12 tuition and apprenticeship programs. We've also created the Keystone Scholars program. So every baby born to a Pennsylvania resident or adopted by a Pennsylvania resident starting January 1st, 2019, gets $100 grant, and that's to help them toward their future education. Newborns automatically qualify at birth, and that money is set aside and it grows as the child grows. That's to encourage Pennsylvania students to attend college and to encourage Pennsylvania families to save for college. So that's my presentation today. I'm happy to stay and answer questions. I also want to show you this in case you think of a question later. You can call in during weekdays at 855-529-ABLE, or you can email us anytime at info@paable.gov.